Right there, I already kind of figured that you was married. And I'm like, but you still wanted me to have your number. So she like, yeah. She said, listen, we live in Atlanta. Ain't too many faithful men out here. So I wanted you to have my number to see was you gonna reach out to me, to see, what's really going on. She invited me over to the crib. She invited me over to the crib. She said, I'll have to show you in private. Oh, man. So we ended up at her house.
Okay.
And not to get too graphic.
Yes, sir.
She had.
It was the bomb. Damn.
Girl can have.
Woo!
Man, that's all I have to say about that. She have a grown man, toes curling and crying in the corner. She pulled out some tricks that shouldn't be performed on a married man. And story time on how my wife should have divorced me, but she didn't. So one day I was at Panera Bread doing some work, catching up on some work and everything. I like to go to Panera Bread, Wi-Fi free. You know what I mean? I like their bacon, turkey, bacon, avocado sandwich and all that. You know what I mean? So I go there, with my laptop, catch up on some work. And, this beautiful woman walks in. Now, I'm married, so I don't really look at, they don't look at women like that. You know what I mean? But I glanced and I was seeing how beautiful this woman was. And she caught me looking and I caught her looking. We had a moment. But, I put my face back down to my laptop and I kept it pushing. So I guess after about 10 minutes or so, I guess she got her food. And she come over to my table and said, do you mind if I sit here? And I was quite intrigued. So I said, sure. I don't know why I said sure. I don't know why I'm married, but at that time, her beauty captivated me. And in that moment, I forgot I was married. But let's continue on with the story. So, she started to ask me questions, a little small talk. What do I do for a living and all that stuff. And I told her, what type of businesses I run and all that stuff. And I'm just catching up on payroll, catching up on emails, just sitting here, and just enjoying my alone time with my sandwich and all that stuff, And I asked her, what she do. And, she said she's in the real estate, but she plan on, transitioning into something, some other stuff. And I said, okay, cool. And I'm going to tell y'all, man, this sister had a smile on her that is so captivating. Dimples, caramel complexion, beautiful, all around beautiful sister, dressed modestly, mild makeup and all that stuff. I mean, like real rap, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman. So, to my amazement, I was wrapping up everything. I said, man, nice to meet you. I gotta go, bust a move. And then she said, aren't you gonna ask me for my number? And I was like, well, I didn't know. I didn't intend to.
She coming on
but
strong.
If you want to give it to me, then I'll take it. She cracked a little smile and gave me her number. And that was the beginning of the end. So one day I'm sitting in my office going through my phone and everything. And I saw her name. So I figured to shoot her a text, see how everything was going and, transition and finding a new job. Now, this was probably about 2 to 3 weeks, after our little, encounter at Panera Bread. And I shot her a text, hey, how's everything? And, job search and all that stuff. And she said, oh, everything is going well and everything. I'm all right, cool,
Supposed to be married.
I'm just checking up, checking in on you, make sure everything is all right. And she was like, thank you. And she was like, hey, I was wondering, are you available, to, meet up for lunch? And I said, you know what? I plan on, I just plan on going to grab me some to eat. Where you want to meet at? So we met up at this bagel spot in Atlanta. downtown Atlanta. I want to say Reinstein's Bagel or not Weinstein, but something Steen Bagel. Real, actually, really dope bagel spot. Sure enough, we met up there and everything. Again, small talk, very very good conversationalist. Very intellectual. I love having conversation. Real dope system. So I said, listen, before we go any further, I gotta let you know something. And she was like, well, what's that? And I was like, well, I'm a married man. I'm married. And to my surprise, y'all wanna know what she said? She said, I
She don't give a fuck.
figured that. And I'm like, you figured that? I'm like, how did you figure that? She said, from the first time when I saw you in Panera Bread, and when you was wrapping everything up, you was about to leave, you didn't ask me for my number. Not too many men could not resist asking me for my number. So I already kind of figured that you was married. And I'm like, but you still wanted me to have your number. So she like, yeah, because, and this will blew my mind. She said, listen, we live in Atlanta. Ain't too many faithful men out here. So I wanted you to have my number to see was you gonna reach out to me, to see, what's really going on. That was a red flag for me. That was a red flag, but again, her beauty captivated me, and at the time I didn't see it. And she invited me over to the crib. So I left off at where she invited
This is a professional home wrecker. Let's fucking go.
me over to the crib. So I declined it. I declined it the first time. So, I'm like, nah, I can't go over to the crib. My conscience got the best of me. I'm like, nah, I can't, I can't go over to the crib. So a couple weeks passed. She texts me. She's like, hey, what you doing? You already know, I be moving through the city. So I'm like, yeah, I'm moving through the city. I'm downtown Atlanta, doing what I do. And she's like, yeah, let's meet up at the spot again, the bagel spot. So we meet up at the bagel spot again. And, man, the sister really can talk, man. She really good at talk, very educated, know a lot of stuff and everything. And, she says something that really tickled me pink. Really tickled me pink. She said, you want to know why I asked you out to lunch again? And I was like, wow. She said, because whatever fragrance you got on, it does something to me. And I said, well, what do it do? Oh, man, I shouldn't have asked that question.
She said that motherfucker get her moist. Do your research on moist.
She said, I'll have to show you in private. So we ended up at her house.
Okay.
And not to get too graphic.
Yes, sir.
She had this.
It was the bomb. Damn.
Girl can have.
Woo!
Man, that's all I have to say about that. She have a grown man, toes curling and crying in the corner. She pulled out some tricks that shouldn't be performed on a married man, and man, that was the beginning of the end.
Shit! Boy, I know the wife ain't doing that shit like that at home. Do your research, ladies. You better get your Hey, listen, married ladies. You better get your motherfucking top game correct. You better come correct. Because this motherfucker right here gonna pull up on your nigga. Straight up.
Well, another beginning of the end. So, as y'all can imagine, we had, built a little relationship over the next few months. I'll say about 6 months. We was going at it. Very poor decision on my behalf, I would admit. But she knew what she was getting into. So one day, my conscience really got the best of me because I am a loyal person by default. I am a
No, we don't want to hear that, nigga. You was just getting your top blown off by this motherfucker. Don't have no conscience now, my boy. Let's fucking go.
very loyal person. I got caught up. I got caught up in the web. So I hit her up and said, yo, I can't do this no more. I can't do it. And she like, what you mean you can't do it no more? I said, listen, I'm married. I can't do this. I have a great wife. I can't do this. This is not right. And to my amazement, y'all wanna know what she said? She said, okay. Now, that okay, I was okay with, right? So about another 2 months go by, didn't hear anything from her. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking everything, was copacetic. I'm thinking everything was done and over it. I'm thinking everything bygones was bygones. You know what I mean? We was on to the next chapter. Oh, so I thought. So out the blue, I get a text. She was like, hey, I'm just letting you know, I just got a new job, and man, it's dope. She's in training, and the lady that's training her is dope and everything. So I'm like, I hit her back with like, man, good for you, man. I'm glad that, things is working out for you. I wish you the best, yada, yada, yada. And, we left it at that. So I hadn't heard from Sister Girl in a few months, right? You know what I mean? We kind of like, I guess it was like over, right? And, well, so I guess, or so I thought. So one day, my lady, my wife, she needed me to come up to her office to bring her some files that she left at home that was important for a meeting or something like that, right?
Damn, don't tell me she worked. That's the new job. God damn, life is funny, innit? Oh, shit.
So I said, all right, bring it up there. So I went to the crib because I was already out in the mix. Went to the crib, picked up the file and everything. Headed over to, her office, her job. So I walk in, and my wife, she like came to the door, right? So as I handed her the file, I look over right beside her. Guess who it was? Yeah. My heart dropped. Everything dropped. And she spoke to me. She didn't say my name. She spoke to me. She said, hi. And I said, hi. And my wife introduced us. And very awkward moment. Very, very, very awkward moment. Right? So, I left. I'm in the whip. Mind racing 100 miles a minute. I'm like, yo, oh my goodness. Like, so I'm thinking on some old crazy stuff like was this girl stalking me? Like what she found out who my lady was? This, that, and the third. I'm like, yo, what in the world? What? Yo, oh my goodness. My mind was on some old crazy stuff. So like later on that night when my lady got home, I text old girl. I'm like, yo, what's going on? Like this, that, and the third. She like, what? She like, I'm like, yo, like how you find, like how you end up like where my lady at, and you with my, this, that, and the third. And then she was like, man, don't worry about it. I mean, I ain't worried about it. I ain't gonna say nothing about it. You good, this, that, and the third.
She a professional, my nigga. Just don't piss her off.
So I'm like, but still, like, what's going on here? You can't work there. And then she was like, you can't tell me what to do, yada, yada, yada. So I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, you saying the wrong shit.
Oh my goodness. I'm stressing, y'all. I am stressing. Because I'm thinking this girl about to daggone try to get some money out of me. She probably gonna try to, like I'm thinking everything. I'm thinking that she gonna be trying to pull something to like, I'm thinking she gonna be trying to strong arm me and try to get some money out of me. Like, I'm thinking she gonna, oh man. So, I kind of like, all right, it is what it is. So like a month later, right? My lady hit me up. She like, let's meet for lunch, right? So I'm like, all right. I mean, you know what I mean? Meet my lady for lunch. My lady brought up that same bagel spot that me and old girl was going to. She's like, yeah, meet me at this bagel spot. Yada yada yada. I'm bugging. I'm like, what? You talking about? You know what I mean? She like, yeah, meet me up there. So I said, oh man. So I'm going there, heading there. So I get there. I walk in. I see my lady. So it was like the building's like where she was sitting, it was like kind of caddy corner right there. So I go there, greet my lady, look over, old girl sitting with my lady.
I would have never went there, bruh. I would have never went there just because I went there with the sneaky link. I would have never went there. Baby, I ain't coming there. Shit, let's go to the one across town. I'm not going to that one.
Oh my goodness. If you'd have saw my face, it would look like I saw a ghost.
I promise you I would have never went there.
And she's sitting up there calm. Like sitting up there just like, so I'm like, oh man, she done told my lady. And man, my lady about to expose, you know what I mean? She about to take me to the bank, take everything, take my kids, take my house, take all my money. Up there, you know what I mean? My mind is, I'm like, oh man. So I just sat down, I'm like, I gotta take this like a man. You know what I mean? I created this mess, I gotta take it. So I sat down. So we just started talking. Then we just started talking, carry on, and my lady was talking about how much, you know, old girl was like, you know, my lady, when the old girl got hired at the job, my lady trained her, and then my lady started to take a liking to her and stuff like that. And I remember when she first got hired, I ain't know it was her. But my lady was like coming on. She's like, man, I met this sweet girl that I'm training her at the office and everything. She's doing really well. She's very sweet and she could talk really well. Everything I liked about her, my lady liked about her.
I was just about to say that.
Crazy work. But of course you don't put two and two together because you wouldn't. That's like trying to find a needle in a haystack. You don't think that the girl gonna end up at your daggone working with your lady or your lady training her or being her boss and all that. You don't think none of that stuff. So when my lady was talking about all this stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. So back at the you know, the bagel spot. We just having the conversation, and everything. So, you know, my lady was, you know, they was having small talk. So I'm like, oh, snap, this girl ain't telling my lady nothing. Cause we just having my lady all happy and we having a decent conversation. So I'm still mentally bugged out, but I'm going along with the flow. So, you know, we finished lunch and everything, get home later on that night. So I'm asking my lady, like, how, you know what I mean, you and that girl cool and everything? She's like, oh yeah, she's real nice. I really like her as a friend, this, that, and the third. And I'm like, oh snap. So, you know, I'm like, yeah, my lady just bigger her up and everything. So, you know what I mean? They started hanging out more. I'm hitting my lady. I'm like, where you at? And how you doing? She's like, oh yeah, I'm out with such and such. So I'm like, they getting close. And then, like, you know, they started hanging out more. So at this point, you know what I mean, my lady and old girl hanging out more. They besties at this point now. It's been about a year now. I mean, it's been about a year going on. So, you know, around December, around Christmas time, they was having a Christmas party, office party. You know what I mean? So, you know, went to the, you know, office party, everybody dressed in they ugly, you know, Christmas sweaters and all that stuff, having a, you know, good old time and everything. So yeah, you know, we in there. You know, I don't drink or nothing, so everybody in there drinking and everything. I'm off in the cut. I'm playing the cut like a band-aid. I'm off to the side. You know what I mean? And I noticed I ain't see my lady around. But that wasn't unusual because being as though she's the office manager, she's all, you know what I mean? She's mingling with everybody. Everybody know her. You know what I mean? But I'm gazing the room. I don't see her nowhere. So my curiosity, like, you know what I mean? My antennas went up. I'm like, where is she at? And so I went off to just walk around the building a little bit. So I'm like, I'm gonna go check in her office. So as I was going to her office, right? So it's like this little cut. I don't know. I think it's like a file room or a fax room. You know what I mean? It's like a little off.
Don't tell me her and they getting it. Come on, hold on.
to the cut before you get to her office. So as I'm walking, I look over, I see like a little shadow or something. So I walk over and I'm hearing like, movement. And I look over, right? I see my lady and old girl kissing.
I know it. Fuck did I just say to y'all? Fuck did I just fucking say?
Yeah, I see my lady and old girl kissing. I'm just looking. I ain't make no commotion. I'm looking, I'm like, what? Huh? Am I seeing things? I'm thinking I'm like having a dream or something. I'm like, what's, I'm like, yeah, I was more lost to words than anything, right? So they saw me before I said anything, and they just, and this, that, and the third, right? So I just laughed. I was like, yo, this
You good now? You good now? Shit, I would have no more worries. Shit, I did what I did, and I caught you.
crazy.
Let's get a threesome in. Teach her these moves. She gotta teach your wife the moves that she did on you. She gotta teach y'all. Like, you feel me? All three of y'all have a class. Fuck yes, let's go.
I ain't make no commotion because this is the reason why I didn't make no commotion. Because when girl first saw me, when I went to my lady office to bring in that file that day, she ain't uncovered me. She could have exposed me. I said, all right, I ain't gonna do that to her. So I walked off like a G. I said, y'all finished doing your thing. I walked off like a G. Y'all finished doing your thing. But then my lady came running after me. Oh, no, it ain't what you think. I'm like, listen.
It's cool.
We'll talk when we get to the crib. Have your fun. I'm gonna go back out to the Christmas party.
Let's fucking go.
I ain't mad. I ain't gonna stomp out crazy. I ain't gonna listen. I'm in my feels right now, but I'm a G. I'm gonna take it on the chin. I'm gonna go back out there to the Christmas party, and when y'all done, and when you ready to leave, when all the festivities is over, we'll talk when we get back to the crib. Fast forward.
My boy.
It came out, everything was awkward at that point. Old girl, now mind you, old girl was playing. She ain't feel awkward. It's almost like she orchestrated all this.
Nigga, she do this.
Lady was awkward. I was awkward. Everything was awkward. So we driving home. The drive home was a very awkward silence. I ain't say nothing because I'm like, I want to wait till we get to the crib because you already know. If y'all get to arguing in the car crashes, y'all see the movies with the couples fighting and they arguing, and next thing you know they in the car crash. Yeah, that's where my mind was at. So I said, I'm gonna wait till we get to the crib and we gonna have a conversation. So we get to the house. We undressing. She in the bathroom. And she just taking her time in the bathroom. So, in my house, we have like in our bedroom, we have our bedroom is like a suite up there. Our bedroom is like a suite. So it goes into like the bathroom, we have the whole shebang. Y'all know it. I don't know what it's called. Master suite. So I go into the bathroom and she just in there crying. And I'm like, what's up? She crying, right? And she said, I gotta tell you something. I'm like, well, I saw with my own eyes. So, all we got to do is just like you ain't even got to explain. We don't need no explain, but like, I didn't know you was in the girls, yada, yada, yada. Like what's going on with that? So I was more concerned, like, you in the girls? I didn't know you was in, that's where my mind was at. And she was like, no, it's a little bit more deeper than that. I'm like, a little bit more deeper? She said, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And she was like, you gonna need to sit down for this. I'm like, nah, I ain't sitting down. I'm like, I ain't sitting down. I ain't on no sitting down type of talk. Nope. I'm like, just let it out. Stop beating around the bush. Just let it out. Just we ain't gotta do none of this movie Tyler Perry type stuff. Just let it out. I can take it. We left off. I was in the bathroom. Well, we both was in the bathroom. She was in there crying and everything. And I'm asking I'm talking like, yo, what's going on? You gotta let me know what's going on. So before she told me what I'm about to tell y'all, I said, listen, we ain't got a divorce. This was a mistake. we can get through this. We can go get some counseling. Yada, yada, yada. Now, the reason why I was talking like that is because I already knew my situation with old girl. So, I ain't have to uncover myself. I ain't have to confess to nothing because the guilt was on her. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, look, we can let bygones be bygones. We can go get some counseling and go on with our married life. And after saying all that, she looked at me and said, me and such been messing around for 2.5 years. My legs gave out. I fell inside the jacuzzi tub. Real rap, I'm telling y'all the truth. I said, what? 2.5 years? You been messing with this chick? And she was like, yeah. And I love her and I love you. She's not only like, somebody I enjoy being around. She's like a close friend. And we was close friends before we was intimate. And then when we got intimate, it drew me closer. Oh, man, I was gone, y'all. It took everything in me not to tell her, yo, I was smashing that too 6 months, 7 months prior. But, it gets crazier. It gets crazier. She said, I already knew what y'all did. And I'm like, what? Hold on. This is where it gets crazy, y'all. This is where it gets crazy. She said, listen, I sent her to you. I told her that you was going to be at Panera Bread. I told her everything that you like, the type of conversations, where you at. She pretty much knew you, and she knew the whole gameplay to run on you because I told her that. What? I'm thrown at this point, y'all. You want to talk about being mentally mind screwed? It was like I was in another dimension. I'm like, and she was like, look, I don't want to get rid of her. I need her in my life. I want her in my life. And I knew the only way for me to do that is to get you on board. So we had to do this to get you on board. And she was like, I don't want to leave you. I don't want to leave you neither. You are the love of my life. Like, you are everything to me. I need you in my life in as much as I need her. You are more important to me than her, but she's important to me as well. So I'm like, so all this time, y'all was grooming me? Like, all this time. Remember, I told y'all, right? How when I went back to old girl crib, she have a grown man's toes curling and all that stuff. She knew all the moves to put on me because my lady knew. I told y'all that, like, yo, this girl, she had me captivated. And it's something else that I meant to tell y'all. My lady like Burberry goddess, and I love when my lady put on Burberry goddess. I always told her that, right? And I remember from the first day we met in Panera Bread, she had on that Burberry goddess. It was almost like when I tell you, like, it was almost like they was putting it. I don't want to say spell because I don't believe in that spell stuff, but it was all orchestrated. They groomed me. So over the course of those months, she was grooming me to accept her relationship with old girl so that old girl can eventually come into our life. So my lady can have her and I can have her as well because old girl was attracted to me as well. Oh man, y'all, this is crazy. I had to process. It's still a lot to process. I said, yo, listen, hold on. I got to process this. Then my doorbell ring. I go downstairs, right? And this old girl at the door, right? My lady come downstairs, let her in. She went to my lady, kissed my lady, then came to me, kissed me. And y'all can use your imagination after that.
Let's fucking go! Threesome, let's go! Teach her what you did to me, teach it to her, and let's do it all together. You learn it, everybody gonna learn that shit. Both heads, let's fucking go!
In conclusion, my sneaky link turned out to be my wife's sneaky link first.
Wow!
But it gets crazier, y'all. So, some of y'all might think I had the best of both worlds. Oh, I had two women that wanted me. My lady wanted a woman, this, that, and the third. Y'all might think, oh, man, that's the ideal situation. No, it gets crazier. So, here's the thing. I ain't with all that stuff. Believe it or not, I'm not with, listen, I'm not with all, I am a one-woman's man. I am. I ain't with all that. I ain't with all that stuff. But I gave it a try. So for the first month or two, everything was seemingly good. Like, cool. Having two women in the house, understanding, you know what I mean, this, that, and the third. But some things started to happen very suspicious. My wife started to get UTIs all the time. So we wasn't really being intimate. I was being more intimate with old girl. And when I tell you, old girl was performing like she had something to prove every time we got down. I mean, old girl was making sure she was putting her best foot forward. It was almost like she was putting her best, thing together, because it was almost like she was interviewing for the job. You see what I'm saying? So my lady, she was going to the doctor. She couldn't figure out why she kept getting these UTIs and everything. So one night, while my lady was at work, me and old girl at the crib, and she was saying, like, she was talking to me like, have you ever thought about it just being me and you? And I'm like, what you mean? What you mean by me and you? And she was just like, I mean, I'm really into you. I'm not into the girls no more. I didn't really want to be into your girl, but I know that your wife and, we have feelings, but I'm not in it like she's in it. And I want to leave, but I don't want to leave you. And I'm like, oh. And I said, hold up. Time out. We ain't on some old snapped Crime 360, no first 48 type of stuff where you gonna get rid of the wife, it never ends well. No. I said, nah, She was like, no. I said, man, listen, no. Don't be thinking, because you ain't getting me caught up in no nonsense, real rap. And she was like, nah, I ain't talking about like that. No, don't think about like that. It's then the third. And I'm like, yo, this is getting real spooky. This is getting real suspect here. We might have to cut this short. And she was like, nah, but don't tell her. I just been thinking that. I'm not into girls like that. It was just a phase. It was just a moment. And, she was a good friend. And I don't really want to be in this type of relationship. I just want to be with you. I'm scratching this is exactly what I was doing, y'all. I'm like, this can't be happening. I said, nah, I'm not leaving my lady.
I could have sworn my boy was bald. What the hell?
I'm not leaving my wife for you. I'm just not doing it. That ain't gonna happen. She got mad. Of course she got mad. So as a few months more kept going on, my wife kept on getting these UTIs. So at that point, me and my wife haven't been intimate for like 4 months. So it was like I kept going to old girl. And again, old girl was putting, she kept on doing her thing. So like I said, she had ulterior motives. And then like she was cooking for me more. She was trying to show up to do things for me more than my wife. It was almost like she was in competition with my wife. And I caught on to that. I was already hipped on game based upon that conversation we had. So I'm like, oh yeah. She trying to replace my lady. So I had to tell so one day, man, I pulled my lady to the side. I said, yo, listen, such and such is trying to replace you. and you keep having these UTIs, I don't know. So I skimmed over the conversation with my lady that me and old girl had a few months prior. And my lady was like, for real? I'm like, yo, I don't know what's going on here, but it's going on. And I don't know if she's trying to get rid of you. I don't know if she's trying to just get you sick on purpose, but this, that, and the third, like try to cross your T's and dot your I's and see how she's moving around you. And my lady was like, I did see that she's moving kind of differently, and she wanted to be more like close to you and like distance from me, but we still talk, and I really didn't see anything. And her, it was like, oh snap. I'm like, yo, listen, old girl she's foul. So I stopped messing with her. All in all. I'm like, look, I ain't doing this. Whatever y'all gonna figure out, y'all gonna figure out. I ain't doing this. So, probably like a month and a half started to go. She kept on trying to come on to me, wearing lingerie, doing slick stuff when my lady was at work I'm at home like doing that. I'm like, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do nothing because we gotta figure this out. So one day I told my lady, yo, she gotta go, because I just don't feel comfortable around her no more. You know what I mean? I really don't. And it's starting to get a little weird because I didn't trust her after that conversation. I'm thinking that she might be putting poison in the food. Like she might be doing some slick stuff while we at the crib, like cooking, because she will cook. And I ain't know whether she was, she might be slipping something in the food, might drug me one day. Like I'm on some old movie type of like, yo, she might be on some old crazy stuff. So like when she would cook, right? I ain't eat the food. I gave it to the dog. Nah, real rap. I gave it to the dog. Or like when she wasn't looking, man, I threw it in the trash. I wasn't eating her food because I just didn't trust her. And I didn't want to be living like that in my own crib. So I told my lady she had to go. Of course, that caused a big fight because she was like, yo, I ain't got nowhere to go, yada, yada, yada. And I told my lady, yo, this lady is doing something. She's trying to sabotage you. So come to find out, why my lady was getting all these UTIs, the soap that she was using, old girl was putting some type of chemicals in the soap that my lady was using. So when she washed down there, it was irritating her down there. And I was like, yo, because she would be irritated and all this stuff, and she ain't know, like the last thing she would think it was her soap, because she's been using that type of soap all her life. So come to find out, old girl was putting some type of chemicals on her soap. Yo, so we had to get the cops involved. We ended up getting her put out and all that stuff, and but my lady still had to work with her, so she just couldn't fire her. So that was kind of awkward. And man, some crazy stuff happened that my lady ended up getting fired from her job because of something this girl did. Now, a lot of y'all keep saying I'm dragging this. I am not dragging it. I'm trying to get y'all detail and gather my thoughts and process this whole thing. Y'all know y'all can hit the side of the screen and fast forward it if you want to hear me talk faster. I'm not going to talk faster because I don't talk fast, but I'm trying to process. But anyway, so we left off. We got the cops involved, had to get it kicked out the crib and all that stuff. But the problem with that is she still worked at my wife's company. And my wife is the office manager, and she's one of the employees under my lady, right? So of course you just can't fire somebody because of that. That's why, they tell people not to have workplace relationships. So what happened was, man, a series of events started to happen. Old girl was broken and bitter because, she felt like my lady betrayed her, brought her into this situation when she didn't want the situation no more. When she wanted me. She wanted my lady's life. She wanted my lady out the way. And she realized that I wasn't going to just leave my lady for her. She got bitter, broken, and now she wanted to sabotage everything. And that's when she started playing this game of victim. What she did was she went to HR and did a whole series of things. The text messages between her and my wife, she went to upper management and showed upper management and said my lady was sexually harassing her. Yeah. Which they end up having to do an investigation. So what old girl did was clever. So she edited all the text messages and made it look like my lady was making advances to her. She showed my lady, I guess they exchanged pictures, explicit pictures. Old girl showed them the pictures and showed them all these things that was like, oh snap, they can't tolerate this type of behavior from somebody who's up in upper management. So of course, they brought my lady into the office, and they showed my lady all the stuff that they had against her, and they end up letting her go. They end up letting her go for sexual harassment. You know what I mean? That's it, y'all. That's it. I don't know what else y'all want. That's it. The whole situation turned out to be a disaster. And guess who started it all? My lady. That was her karma. She started out cheating. She groomed me. They manipulated me into getting into this relationship when I didn't want to. And yes, I played a part in this whole situation. I take responsibility by allowing her, to do things. But I believe I was coerced. I believe I was groomed. I believe I was, I was set up. You know what I mean? And I gave into it. And then when it was all you thought everything was looking good, it didn't look good. And now that I think about all this stuff, I'm like, listen, I don't trust my lady no more. I don't. And it's been hard. She's trying to build back that trust now, but I still don't trust. I tell her straight, I don't trust you because you started all this stuff. Now I don't know what to do next because yes, I love her. I don't know if she might try to do this again. We still have to address the fact that she's into women. You see what I'm saying, y'all? So yeah, man, I'm in a dilemma. What y'all think? I should leave? Y'all think I should stay? Y'all think I should give her a chance? What y'all think? Because, at the end of the day, you see what I'm saying? And that's the end. My sneaky link turned out to be my wife's sneaky link first.
Okay. I definitely wouldn't trust my wife either after that. But this was a crazy story. But like he said, he did participate in it. But I don't know. I wish them the best though. Hopefully they can work it out. But I definitely wouldn't trust my wife either because you did set me up. You know what I'm saying? You set me up big time, big time set me up. But hey man, my boy had some fun. Shit, my boy had him a little threesome. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never had no threesome before. I'm trying to see what that be like right there. You know what I'm talking about? But shit, I guess it was fun. It was an experience for my boy. Hopefully him and his wife could work it out. But I wouldn't be trusting my wife no more for sure. And I don't know why I thought my man was bald. I guess because he had the hat and it was covering up. But it looked like he got some hair. I was like, damn, what happened? But yeah, man, hopefully they can work it out, man. That's all I really got to say about it. You feel me? What y'all think about it? Y'all let me know in the comments below what y'all think about it. This was a crazy story. I like this story. It was a good story, though, man. My boy had some fun, though. Shit, hopefully in the mean in between. But not having sex with your wife in 4 months is crazy. And then her spraying chemicals on the soap. Oh shit, that's crazy too. But shit, hopefully goddamn the sneaky link taught the wife some of the moves that she was doing, and if they do work it out, you know what I'm saying, they can, you know what I'm talking about. But y'all let me know what y'all think about it in the comments below. I appreciate y'all for tuning in and rocking with me again. Smash that like button on your way out. Yep, it's your boy Ray Big Play. Peace.